Two Beatles and Jeff Lynne techniques that will help you with any song in any genre. Next on Music Surgery with me, Dr. Bob. Hey you guys, quickly before we get started, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. And don't forget to check out the Doctor's Lounge, my store, and the links to some great samples below in the description of this video. So, while working on this very Beatles and Jeff Lynne ELO-ish song this week, things were sounding thin. I used a technique to fatten up the track, but still keep the same retro vibe. Watch this. All right, you guys, great stuff this week. Really interesting stuff. Not a lot of information on this. You all know that I'm a huge Mutt fan. I talk about Mutt a lot on the channel, but equally so, I'm a giant Beatles fan and Jeff Lynne fan. And when you go to recreate some of that type of music, you find now that some things about recreating it in 2024 don't sound quite modern enough. So what I'm trying to do here is get a retro kind of thing, but still push it to modern. One thing you'll notice that as much as Beatles records have unbelievable bass lines, a lot of times when bass players play melodic things, they play up the neck. And the low end out of the track goes away. Now, when you say bass, it means two things to me. Bass means the instrument bass, and it means the bass or the low end of the track. Let me play you this and show you what I mean. This is more of a melodic type bass part that follows the piano. The bass part can't really be anything else. You'll see it's locked in here. And let's talk about this bass. So you can see it kind of needs to follow the left hand of the piano, which is great. And a melodic type Paul McCartney bass part, how you beat that? Great, incredible musicianship and arrangement. But what I find is when there's bass parts, and this could be in any kind of song you're working on, when there's bass parts that are melodic and they have to play up the neck, the low end of your track disappears. And when you play up the neck, the low-end frequencies aren't there as much. Let me play this and try to dig out these low frequencies. And even if there are some, they're ugly low frequencies because they're not the prettiest low frequencies for the low frequency range, if that makes any sense. Watch. There's not that much low end down there because the notes themselves aren't creating a lot of low end, even though it's a bass part. I mean, listen, in the track, even so. That boost helped, but it really didn't give me a modern kind of low-end thing along with the retro. So what I did is I copied this bass part to here, same bass part, same, all I did is copied it to a new track, and I pitched it down an octave. So now I have the same part, the same track, the same sound, pitched down an octave, which gives me this. I rolled off some high end because I don't really want the clickiness of the low part. I just want this low end. So without this octave below, it sounds like this. With this part in, now, a lot of you could say, well, it sounds like an octaver pedal and all that. Yeah, it's basically kind of does, but oftentimes I think octaver pedals get weird and chorusy and strange. So this is a great way to sneak some low end back in your track, because just because there's bass doesn't mean there's low end in your track. So that's one way to kind of modernize retro and give your track more low end. Now, even if it's not a retro sounding track, you can always try this technique just to see if it gives your track more weight. So there's one technique. The other is much more Jeff Lynne. So here I have, let me play this again and listen to the drum sound. What Jeff Lynne does, and I think is awesome, is he'll use a lot of the room sound. And it's not a big cavernous or boomy room sound necessarily like John Bonham, but it's one more like this. And all I have here is I have Addictive Drums. It's the Retroplex Roomy kit. And I've turned the room way up on it. And I've crushed it with a compressor. So without that, and with it, huge difference. Gives it that kind of boxy Jeff Lynne thing, which I think still sounds modern and cool. The next thing, I'm just going to add 2 lower tuned, almost Lynne drum sounding snares to that. So without the low snares, and with. So let me bring my bass up here. Let me play the track without both techniques. The Jeff Lynne drum technique, which is add some low snares in the room, and without the octave bass. So here is the track without the new elements. And here it is with the new elements. So, 2 low snares, a Jeff Lynne room type sound, and an octave below bass make a huge difference. So, when you're missing some low end in your track and you can't figure why, because there's a bass on there, get a bass sound that has more low end to it if they're playing up high on the neck. And don't forget the room sounds and the low snare sounds that can really, really round out the bottom of a track. Well, there you go. Try these out on any song in any genre to get more bass, warmth, and thickness in your track. Thanks as always for watching. Give me some comment love and a thumbs up below, and hit me at drbobmusicsurgery@gmail.com if you want to say hello or you want me to work on your music. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you the next time the doctor's in.